Okay, welcome to another midweek preview show from the Hoops and Dreams crew. I've got George here as usual to help me review the last match, hard as that is, preview the Southampton fixture, and chat about any QPR topic that we can think about. Welcome, George.
Good to be back on, mate.
Right.
Obviously, to talk about a better result, but it's okay. We'll
True.
get through it anyway.
Let's start by reviewing that home game then, QPR against Ipswich. Here was another opportunity to judge just how good we were against another ex-Premier League side. Good good that we managed to get this opportunity, I suppose. But they're awash with parachute payments. What I wasn't looking forward to was another poor performance to rival that of Derby from the Hoops. We ended up losing 4-1. Did we get the result we deserved, George?
I feel, yeah, obviously we deserve to lose the game. Whether it was a 4-1 sort of game, I'm not too sure. The score when you let them score within the first couple of minutes of the game, not even that was it within the first minute, it doesn't exactly help. And how easy it was. Like they're a team who weren't exactly too high on confidence, especially away from home, and we just almost gave them that straight away. And
Yeah.
until Burrell scored, we couldn't play out at all. Their press was well organised, and it just seemed like every single time we tried. This wouldn't work. And then the goal kind of came out of nowhere, really. Good shot from Chair, I think. Poor keeping, though. And then Burrell, right place, right time. And he's showing to be a great bargain in the window. And then second half, you just let him do the same thing again. You give away a silly foul on the edge of the box. And as much as it's the keeper's side, and I feel like, okay, maybe Nardi could have done a little bit better, especially if it's your side of the goal. It's a good free kick at the end of the day. And then their second goal looks like a wonderful team goal, but our press was just completely messed up. I have no clue why Escudinha jumped onto their fullback and just left their winger completely on his own. So for them, that must look perfect. Like they'll be showing that across all social medias because that looks like the perfect team goal. But it was just really poor press from us. And then almost identical, obviously different side of the goal, but the second free kick.
Mm.
It's just a pitified our day, to be honest with you. And I feel like after that, we didn't really create anything. It was, I don't know, they looked like a team who were high on confidence and they looked like a team who had the players of quality that they had. And they haven't really shown that this season, which is frustrating. But I don't know. It was just a frustrating day. You look at their squad, the fact that they can bring on like players like Akpom off the bench, it just shows you, doesn't it? But
Yeah.
it's just no excuse for, I think, a poor performance from us. As much as they were good, yeah, we were poor.
Yeah. I mean, Stefan afterwards said, I'm going to abbreviate what he said for 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes, but a bad result, and that about sums it up. Possession, we only had 38% of that, which in the past hasn't been a problem. We actually seem to do better when we have less possession. And both sides had the same number of shots on goal. Oh, sorry, it's a number of shots. I think they had 12. We had five on target. They had seven. So it wasn't that far apart. For some bizarre reason, we had four yellows, and that, well, I've got to say that ref was at best not very good. I was not impressed by him at all. He was way behind the game all the time. He didn't seem to be keeping up with it. And if you do that, you're going to end up making judgments that are going to be questionable at the best. Um, I was there, so I was able to watch the not just the narrower camera angles that you can see on the highlights and whatever, but also the movement across the pitch. And I felt there were large portions of the game where we were well organised, in formation, and looking to attack. Did you feel the same, George?
Yeah, I felt like, as I said, when once Burrell scored, I thought that we actually did all right, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. And as you said, we didn't control possession, but for us, I said it coming into this game, we played better against teams who come out and block. So I thought, you know what, it might play in our favour. But I think the big issue was when you give, as I said, when you give a team who's got that sort of quality chances on goal, you're not going. It's like if you come up against a team like an Oxford or a Sheffield Wednesday, or a team lower bottom, you can sometimes afford to give them these shots on target or these easy opportunities. But when you have players of that quality, you can't do that. But I agree with you. There was points in the game where we looked organised and we looked all right, but you can't concede in the first minutes of each half. That just absolutely kills you.
Yeah, no, I totally agree on that. Uh, well, I suppose that carries on to team selection. Um, you can't see Nardi being replaced, and I really did feel that for a couple of those goals, he was, if not at fault, he could have done a lot more. So let's just focus upon the other selections made by Stefan, and I feel that starting Escudina instead of either Field or Mabengi, I'll get it right, was a risk, and so it proved. Ipswich side has seven ex-Premier League players, and Escudina proved his inexperience many times in his positioning and inability to stop their movement down the left. I think you agree, George, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. Like that first goal, I can't believe how easy it was for
Yeah,
their winger
it
to just get
was.
round him and then get the cross in. And as I mentioned, for their third goal, we just got the press completely wrong. And it's just a team selection move I don't really get, to be honest with you, because you've got Norrington Davis on the bench who can't play on Saturday anyway because we're playing Sheffield United. And I get
Yeah,
it's a 3 game week, so I don't understand why he couldn't start the two home games. And then if you wanted to give Escudinho a chance, give him a chance in the game that Norrington Davis can't play. But after watching that yesterday, I feel like it was not a bad thing to see because now it's just proven that he's not ready for the level yet. You can see there's a player there. He's
yeah,
18 years
yeah.
old. But no, you can just tell that he's just not up to the level yet. But yeah, I just don't get that one. I really don't.
No, I'm with you on that. I'd forgotten about Sheffield United. Yes, he's not allowed to play. Um, Coney, another one who seems to have faded a bit in terms of goal scoring and whatever, but I was impressed with his chasing out of possession. He put in a full shift. Really impressed with him. Burrell looks to me to be running at around about 80% of the speed I saw at Plymouth that had my mouth open in awe. Um, do you think we're tiring out our players in training or something?
I'm not too sure. I feel like I don't know. I'm not. Yeah. I think Burrell's done really well this season. I feel like his pace might have been over exaggerated a little bit away at Wrexham when he was coming up against concrete boots Connor Cody. But I don't know. I feel like, as I said earlier on, he's been the bargain at the window. I was saying it to the people I sit with in LU yesterday. No one's heard of him before this, and then he's
No.
just come and he scored 4 goals in the championship. So really impressed. And what you said about Kone, he seems like I don't know. Sometimes he almost tries a little bit too hard. I think you can tell
Yeah,
he's desperate to
yeah.
score, so he's just trying a bit too hard. Whereas he needs to focus in on scoring goals in the box. And I really like appreciate the work rate. I really do. And we've had strikers in the past who just stand there, don't really do anything. So you can really see that there's a striker there, and it's the point of a whole squad really. Like you even saw it yesterday when Poku came on. I feel like he did well in points, and the squad it's just got really good quality. It's just I don't know. Yesterday it just didn't seem to click. So
No.
I'm not going to sit here and overreact too much about it because I look at their squad as I said, and they're a good team. It was just a poor performance, and we got punished by a good team. So
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing I would mention is that the two wingers, Vale and Chair, I thought they did quite well.
mm,
Um, and I sort of understand why they were taken off to bring on fresh blood and whatever. In the 62nd minute, you had Saito come on and Poku. Um, but Esquidina stayed on to then as well to be replaced by Norrington Davis. Why wasn't he replaced at the start of the second half? It was just, it baffles me. I think Stefan made a mistake, definite mistake there, and then compounded it by not sorting it out as quick as he could. Anyway, after that, you then had Frey come on for Coney. Again, I feel that that was a mistake because I feel that, okay, take Coney off. He wasn't having one of his better days. But why not put Chair in there alongside Burrell in the middle? I think he'd be far more dangerous there anyway. But yeah, what's it to do? Um, so let's try and be a bit more positive. Did anyone really impress you, George?
Uh, I don't know. I feel like Chair looked good in spells. He looked energetic, like he did when he came on away at Swansea.
Yeah, he did.
So that's positive to see because usually off the left he seems a bit isolated, but he actually got a bit involved. So I was impressed by that. I thought Hayden did quite well again in the midfield against. I've never heard of him, but they're number five, Matsuwa, I think
Yeah,
Matusiwa, something like that.
that's
I
all
was
right.
really impressed by him. I was really impressed by him. So I thought Hayden did all right against that, but. Apart from that, no one really had that great of a performance. I mentioned Burrell scoring. Vale did okay with a few deliveries. I'm looking at the squad now. Really, I feel like the defense. No one had a good game. Jimmy Dunn looked poor again. Don't know what's happening to him this season.
I think it's being
Morrison.
captain.
Yeah, it could be that responsibility. Morrison didn't have one of his greater games. Cook looked slow again. And then we've obviously mentioned Escudini already. So there's not really many positives to take from it. And like even in these games, you usually have a player who you can say, oh, okay, they played really, really well, but we've lost. But I can't really see that, to be
No,
honest.
normally no. It's interesting that Nardi and Escudino are in on the BBC report. I think they got the lowest ratings. Escudino, I think, was 2. I don't know, 9 or something like that. It really was poor. Um, it was just not good at all. But we should mention that Burrell got that goal. It was a poacher's goal, lovely goal. They all count, I know, but it's good to see somebody following up on balls. And we were unlucky with a few others that could equally have gone that way. But a bad result. Anyway, that leaves QPR in 13th place, still on those 18 points. And we head into the midweek home game against Nottingham, against Southampton on Wednesday evening. Will this fixture on Bonfire Night give us damp squibs or rocketing up the table once again? Southampton are sitting near the relegation zone on 21st place with only 12 points. Their last six results have been, well, one win, a couple of draws, and three losses, culminating in Saturday's loss at home against Preston North End. They've not managed a clean sheet in any of their away games. One player who started again on Saturday for Southampton was Ronnie Edwards, and results are not always going his way. Obviously. Anyone in their squad you would highlight us to watch out for, George?
Well, once again, it's a squad who's come down from the Premier League, and they're not
Mm.
obviously as strong as Ipswich, but they've still got a really good team there. Someone like Adam Armstrong up front. I know he didn't really come with West Brom last season, but if he can rediscover any sort of form he did a couple of seasons ago, he's a class player. Finn Azaz. So
Yes.
these are all like even Ryan Manning seems to be good for this level now. Downs in midfield, Taylor Harwood-Bellis at the back. These are players of high quality, and they're sat 21st in the league. So this is why I think if you want to play them at any time, this is probably the time now because there's got to be a point soon where it clicks for them and they start to improve. Because and this is the thing, because we're known for being a charity team and you just said they haven't kept a clean sheet away from home all season, so that screams 1-0 Southampton now. But that they're a team once again, team of Premier League players, but they just haven't seemed to kick on this year, and I don't know how Will still there. To be honest with you, I feel like if they lose to us, then that would be him definitely gone. I
Yeah.
thought actually they were going to win at home against Preston. I thought
So did
I
I.
keep thinking. I keep thinking there's got to be a point, there's got to be a result where it all clicks for him, but it just that hasn't come yet. So I'm just kind of worried that's us now. But no, if we can play them with how they're playing at the moment, um, then yeah, we have every right to be confident, I feel.
Yeah, I think they're scoring a goal every 83 minutes, according to the stats, which perhaps explains their league position. Um, in, in fact, I don't think they've ever scored two goals in a game this season.
Too
Um,
much.
they've got Adam Armstrong, as you mentioned. He's got four goals. That's all he's got this season. And their second highest scorer on two goals jointly is Ryan Manning, as you mentioned. It's all a bit sad for them, really. They like to dominate possession. That shouldn't worry us too much, as long as they're not doing anything dangerous with it. Their strengths appear to be taking free kicks and use of the long ball to bypass the midfield. Their weaknesses are finishing off those moves, which we also know a fair bit about, and defending. All this sounds rather optimistic, then, George.
Yeah, oh, it should be, but no, I'm taking a look at their stats now as well, to be honest, and I'm quite confused because they've got the second highest expected goals in the league, just
Yeah,
below Coventry. As you rightfully said, they dominate possession, 59% a game. As you said, that doesn't worry me too much. Fourth in the league for shots on target per match, but then this is probably it. They're third in the league for big chances missed.
yes,
So
yeah.
that's probably what it is, and this is the thing that worries me now because, as we mentioned, they got players of quality, and if we play anything like we did against Ipswich and give teams chances, then
We'll rejuvenate them. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I am worried, but yeah, I don't know. This game is probably the one this season where my head's completely torn. I feel like I really don't know how to predict this one. Like my head's just completely torn now.
Yeah, I mean, the other weird thing is they're probably going to line up with a 3-4-3 formation, and I'm not really sure how Stefan's going to counter that or try to counter it. Particularly in the middle. I mean, we just got the Madsen and a another in there. It's going to be tricky.
Yeah,
Um,
what I will say is we haven't looked too bad against back threes this season so far. I remember the big one being Wrexham away, and then we just put Burrell and Kone up there, and because it was three centre backs marking two strikers with Burrell's pace, I can see that working in our favour. So
yeah, I hope so. I mean, really, the way that we play, we always are trying to push up the opposing wing back when we're in possession, and out of possession, drop back Coney or whoever's playing the false 10 role along with the wingers. So we tend to defend that way anyway. So I don't anticipate too much in the way of major changes, but it's possible that we may put in a three-man midfield instead of the two. Um, but do you think that Stefan would even consider going for a back three?
I don't think so. No, he doesn't scream the sort of manager who will change his style of football for another team. If
No, I
that
don't
makes
think so
sense.
either.
I understand some you got to like tactically prepare for different teams, and you've got to like train different leading up to it. But I don't feel like he's the sort of manager who's going to change our complete way of playing and our formation just to suit a team who, let's be honest, that as I've mentioned, players are quality, but they're 21st in the league. It's not like we're coming up against a Coventry who are top. We've got to back ourselves at home, I feel, and that's the way that he'll be thinking. So
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Do you think their style of play will suit us?
yeah, definitely. Saying that, I did say that about Ipswich, but no, definitely. They've been criticised for a good few seasons now, especially when they've been in the Championship, where they just keep the ball for no reason. It was the problem when Russell Martin was there, and it seems like that's almost passed over when Will's taken over. They just pass it around the edge of the box, and they try create manipulate chances, and it just doesn't really work for them. So I prefer to come up against a team like them rather than a team like Millwall who just sit in a low block and then hit you on the counter attack. So that's what I prefer. So on paper, they should suit us, but I'm
Yeah,
going to
no,
specify.
I agree. I agree. Um, well, at the moment they're not looking like a top six playoff team, are they?
No, no,
So,
but as I said, at one point it is bound to click for them. So
okay, let's focus on our defence, George. Who do you see starting in the back four? Morrison again? I mean, he wasn't brilliant. Mabengi?
yeah, yeah, I think he'll start with Morrison and Mbenge. I feel like Cook, he looked a bit almost tired, to be honest with
He
you, at
did.
Ipswich. And
No, he
I
did.
know that's crazy to say because he had the whole team had a week off, but he looked a bit tired. He looked slow, so I'd definitely go Morrison and Mbenge.
And who would you put at
Just
left back?
I feel like it has to be Norrington Davis. We've come on these shows and we've just praised him consistently.
Yeah,
Um,
so do I.
and I feel like since he's come in, he's been one of our better players.
Yeah,
So I definitely start with him. And we've got no other choice other than Jimmy Dunn, which I feel like something that needs to be rectified in January because he
yeah,
seems like a player who knows he's got no one behind him now. So it was almost like the situation when Powell was here. There was no left back behind him, and he knew that he was going to be in the team every single week, and his performances just dropped.
Yeah.
Whereas with Jimmy Dunn now, it seems like the exact same thing's happening. So.
And he might need a break, in all fairness. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. How about in the middle? You've got Varane, Morgan, Field, Madsen, perhaps even Vale. Who would you put in there?
I feel like I'd start Varane, just because I know he hasn't had a great few games, but we know the quality that he has.
Hmm.
Even away at Derby, I checked his stats. I think he was number one on the pitch for like recovering second balls. I start with Varane, and I think. I'm always a bit worried about going Varane and Hayden because they're both quite. There's not really much mobility there. So I think I'd go Varane and Madsen. I know Madsen didn't really do much against Ipswich, but his performances this season again have warranted a spot in the team. So I think I'd go Varane and Madsen. What I wouldn't be shocked if he does, as you said, midfield. I wouldn't be shocked if he plays chair in the 10 and almost drops them a little bit deeper because then we crowd that midfield a little bit more. I don't see him starting three of Varane, Madsen, and Hayden because that's just changing it around too much. But I can see him going back to a traditional number nine up front for this game.
Yeah, it's quite possible that'll happen. I can see that as well. Okay, so that does leave us with up front. If Chair comes back and does play that false 10, who would you put on the wings?
I feel like Saito has to start. He looked really lively again when he came on at
Mm.
Ipswich. So I'll definitely start Saito. And then, yeah, I feel like maybe I'll go Paul Smith as well. And like
Yeah.
I've been one of his biggest critics like throughout his couple of seasons here. Like I feel like he doesn't really give you much end product, but the last few games where he's played, he's looked a handful. So I feel like I go Saito and Smith.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think he deserves it. And then up front we've obviously got Burrell. I think you've got to put Burrell in straight away, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I feel like maybe giving Kone a game rest isn't a bad idea because then it kind of gives him that time to reset. Because as I said earlier, he's trying a little bit too hard at the moment. So, and it'd be extremely harsh to drop Burrell. So I feel like, yeah, I feel like I start with Burrell up front. You can bring Kone on after 60 minutes if things aren't going right, and
Yeah,
you're
I'm with
probably
you
going
on that.
to
I
go
think that's the way to go, I think. Okay, we'll save the predictions for a little while. We'll just have a quick talk about there was a media report that the American John Textor was looking at various championship clubs, trying to find the right addition to his stable. He's already got Leon, Botafogo, and RWDM in Brussels. Um, I don't know how much truth there is in this, particularly as it was Football League World who was saying this. I never trust them. But do you see any benefits, George, in having a wealthy owner with a string of other football clubs to their name?
It's definitely worked well for other teams in terms of bringing in players from these clubs. You can send players out on loan to these clubs. I don't really know too much about multi-club ownership. I know there's like a big thing about it with Leon and Forest
And Crystal Palace?
and Crystal Palace with all the Europa League and Conference League stuff this season. So as I said, I'm not too sure. I don't know too much about it. I know that has its benefits, and it's almost like a loophole around things. Like I've seen it, Aston Villa. I don't know what they're doing, but they've almost sold. I think they've sold their women's team to like their like one of the multi clubs or something like that, and it's
They
just got
have.
them out of so
Mm.
there's definitely a way around it, and for us who struggle financially quite a lot, with obviously still paying off the FFP, with Loftus Road not having much, let's be honest, Loftus Road is lovely stadium and it's our home, but apart from 25 games a season, it's completely null and void. Like you don't have any sort of financial benefits there. You can't get in any sort of money. That's why, as much as all these new stadiums getting built are just soulless bowls, at least they have ways of bringing in some money away from that. So I feel like that's just got to be the long term for us. Um, but no, it definitely has its financial benefits. I just agree with you. I'm not sure how much truth there is in it because as soon as I see Football League World, I'm not really too ever convinced. So, um,
Yeah,
but it has its benefits.
I think long term, I can see the benefits of having a ladder of clubs at different levels where you're facilitating the progress of players up that ladder. that would make sense in so many ways. You've got virtually your own coaching system there all the way through. Um, it's how it works in terms of conflicts of interest for the owners and all this sort of thing. And obviously, the thing with Crystal Palace is a good example there of where you've got problems. But I do see that QPR already developing links with Australia, so maybe that's going to become firmer. And I would have thought with our natural affinity with Ireland, we would be also doing the same there as well. So wait and see what happens, I guess, on this one, George.
Mm.
Um, it's that time in the podcast, though, George, where I have to ask you to predict on the midweek match. So let's have your prediction, George, for QPR versus Southampton.
As I said, this is probably the toughest one for me this season because my head is just completely split between two things. But um, no, I'm going to try block out Saturday's result, and I'm going to look on paper, and I'm going to look at the stats in the table, and I feel like I don't see us keeping a clean sheet, so I feel like we're going to win 2-1.
Right. Okay. Okay. Um, confidence may well be an issue after such a lackluster performance. Well, a series of them actually. But I'm going to go for a narrow win. I'm going to go just for a 1-0 win. Well, so that's it. One of us is going to be right, I hope. That's it for another preview show. It just remains for me to thank George as ever for joining me and you for watching. David and James will be here for the next preview show, which is Sheffield United, which we alluded to earlier on the 8th, which should be a great match. The next midweek preview show for George and myself will be Blackburn versus QPR. That's towards the end of this month. But I'll be hosting another Rangers Roundup podcast before then, as we have yet another international break after the Sheffield United game. Till then, come on, you R's.
Woman, you are.